Welcome to the Wealthworthy Podcast. I'm Trisha.
Hi, I'm Darian.
Thank you for joining us. This week we'll be talking about leaving a legacy. So there's just been so much going on, a lot to think about, a lot of leaders and people that we may look up to passing away, right? Like there's all of this going on with the economy. It's just a lot that we've been dealing with and trying to figure out and make sense of in the last couple of months. And so we wanted to have a conversation about what that means in terms of how you plan for your own estate and how you look towards building a legacy. So I think it's an important conversation that needs to be considered, but we don't typically like to think about things that morbidly, right? Like we just want to live day to day, be the best people that we can be, and it's not necessarily about what that means after you've transitioned or what that means to the people who love and care about you, right? So we just wanted to dedicate some time and conversation to what it actually means to leave a legacy. So what are your initial thoughts about that, Darian?
When I think about leaving a legacy, I just think about someone who makes an impact on everyone's life and just is able to be a shining light and be somewhat of a humanitarian.
Right. I think it definitely has to do with figuring out what your purpose is and what your values are, right? Because then you lead your day to day building up to the things that you find most important. And that's where it begins to be this important aspect of your life. Just thinking about the types of careers that people choose and the way that they choose to spend their money is a huge part of what it ends up meaning to leave a legacy. A lot of times we're talking about like what can you do to continue building money, what can you do to grow your money, but life isn't just about money, right? Like yes, it affords you the things that you're looking to do, but aside from that, like what can you do with the tools that you have in order to impact other people and impact those around you, right? So what are your thoughts with the connection of money and value?
I think you should always have high values. Money is important and it gives you access, but I also feel like if you have that access, you also should know how to be a giver of your time and also a giver of your money. Because if you have the access and the money, you should always be able to give back and impart into others' life. Especially if you are someone of high stature or a celebrity, because you gotta think about people are always looking to you and also looking up to you. So you have to really make sure you're making the right impact.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely important to recognize that there are people who give a great deal of their time just in terms of the type of careers that they choose, right? Like you might decide to be a doctor, to be a teacher, to be a part of the military, and all of those things are service-minded careers. And although you may not be making as much as you could if you chose a different career path, right? Like just the fact that you're choosing to do something with your time that can improve our day-to-day quality of life is huge. And sometimes there isn't huge gratitude going towards that. But that's probably one of the positive things that have happened in the last few months, like where you've seen more and more people come out and show gratitude to those who are helping to move along the science to find vaccines, to help deal with patients that are coming in, dealing with this COVID situation, and then, just all the support that's necessary to allow many of these essential fields to thrive or at least sustain themselves. But like to your point about making money, I think that it's important to note because sometimes the conversation goes to a whole other aspect of people saying like, well, why would you decide to be a teacher when you can be a millionaire selling real estate or like being in the entertainment field or, doing some form of a craft that allows you to be paid well for your services. And I mean, even with teaching, it's like, yes, you can be in certain niches where you can earn a great deal more than what the average is. But I think that there definitely comes a point where you're looking at things beyond just the monetary value that it can gain. And then we have careers and people who are doing things that are much bigger than our day-to-day issues, right? Where like if we think about Elon Musk or something, where he's looking to help solve a sustainability issue through electric vehicles, or just like the way that we use electronic payments now with PayPal and Square, and just things that we do in our day-to-day that solve huge problems that we have, but you don't necessarily think about it right away as something that's leaving a huge mark, but it is. Like, it's changing the way that we behave. It's making us more efficient. It's helping to solve big issues, like as we think about our climate issues and just big things that we're looking to address in the next few years. Like, those are areas where you can still be helping others by way of your innovation. Do you have any thoughts on that? Just in terms of how we mesh innovation with building your funds or your approach to life.
I think when I think about it, especially when you're thinking about like technology and things of that nature, it's just about, even if you think about it from that standpoint, you're always still making a connection with people. And I think about, especially with like electronic payment, other different technologies we use every day to help us in our day to day. It's just about always remembering that people are human, and sometimes people just want that genuine connection with others.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you think about just what it means to leave a legacy, right? Like, people may still be caught up in the monetary piece of it, right? Like, you question, like, oh, did somebody leave a will? Are they leaving money to their loved ones? Are they leaving property? Like, what's available to be shared, right? But when we think about some of the biggest people and names that come to mind that have a huge where we think about them as huge factors of our lives, our growth, our culture, those aren't always people that we think about first in terms of money. And yes, that can be a piece of it because there's power dynamics that come with money, but I think that it's good to have that holistic view. What's your purpose? What's your values? How do you want to be remembered? And let that be a big portion of what it means for you to move forward and to continue growing. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I think it's just about knowing your purpose and being confident and knowing what direction you want to take. And I think you have to realize that it's just about making an impact, not just an impression on others' life. And you never know who's watching you and looking up to you in your day to day.
All right. Well, I hope that you begin considering or continue considering what your value and what your mark will be in the future. Until next time, we'll talk to you next week on Wealth Worthy. Have a great one and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.